Good morning, everybody. Wow, I'm sorry, Donna. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, good morning. So looking forward to this soon. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to do session A because most of my portfolio is session A. When it comes to affordable housing, affordable housing. But I want to do a little bit different because I after I do a training like this, I get a lot of calls from a lot of you guys, and I'm happy to answer, right? But if you have question about session A, now is the time for you guys to come at me with them, right? Not after the training or after I tell you what I'm relating on how I work and things like that. You call me and tell me no. Just please feel free to kind of right now interrupt me, like tell me, hey Sammy, I have this situation, this and that. Okay. So I want to start this training by saying, right now there's a lot of waiting people waiting for Section 8 vouchers, and a lot of landlords that are renting houses and things like that. And sometimes we tell them no, there's not accepted. That's not legal. Okay. Legal. It is illegal for you to tell them, hey, we don't accept Section 8. Okay, you have to go through the process. You have to. I mean, the reason I'm saying this is because it just happened. That unfortunately, the agent got on trouble because they were fishing for Section 8 realtors that says no. My landlord doesn't do Section 8, and that's discrimination. It doesn't matter if your landlord doesn't even know about what Section 8. And you shouldn't say, hey, my landlord just hey, submit the application, let's see if we can get you, right? And it's basically, what is Section 8? Section 8 is basically a voucher that the government give a person that make less than $30,000, usually between $25,000 to $30,000, help for them to live in an affordable, home housing. Obviously, since I started investing in 2010, most of my investments are Section 8, which is great. One tenant pays, the tenant pays, most of them pay like a portion of the rent. So let's say the rent is $1,500 to make it even. Some of them pay $570, $550. The other one pay a Section 8 will pay $1,000 or $1,100, whatever it is. Okay, so it will cover most of it in the rent. The process for Section 8, guys. When I started, did not know what was the process, but as I got along, you have to fill out an RTA. Okay, the RTA is going to let them know that it's like, hey, I'm interested. I'm gonna put myself out there in the Section 8. I'm gonna apply for Section 8, meaning like you're gonna go through an orientation, and then after that orientation, you're gonna know what you do and you don't with Section 8, as well as what can you do and you don't, because remember, Section 8 tenant, they respect much the landlord, because remember, if they lose that voucher, that's it for them. They cannot go back into the program. So I like that, because those tenants don't gonna be acting crazy and things like that. You hear some crazy story, but I've been doing this since 2011. So, and I love it because I say how it is, and they're like, okay, no problem. For the same way in my end, right? If a toilet's leaking, if the roof is leaking, or if a window's crashed or something, I gotta go immediately to the house and fix whatever it is. So I have to kind of play by the rule here. In that sense, right? So going back to the timeline for sessioning, and they give you the voucher. Hey, I qualify for this. The rent is 3,000. Let's say the rent is 2,000. I get one. The voucher is only for $1,800. It's $200. Depends on the situation, guys. Depend on the situation. You can accept the voucher, right, for $1,800, right? If it's you know, an older person, you know, or don't do this, but I've seen it because I have done it. If you thing is for $2,000 and the budget for $1,300 and you haven't got anybody else, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and get it. And why I'm saying that, because every year you can raise the rent according to whatever the market is. And Section 8 knows that. So if you get it for $1,800, the rent, the voucher, you sign all the paperwork and stuff, the $1,800, you pass inspection. And by the way, inspection means, guys, they check every little thing on the unit. Don't be scared. It's good for you. Look what just happened to me. The tenant, and we go back to that. The tenant didn't tell me that one of the boxes on the refrigerator was not working. Like, I don't know, the freezer was going in and out and out. And I'm like, but why? So that they do inspection every 6 months. Between 4 to 6 months, they do inspections, showing random for every unit. He went to the unit and he didn't call me. I know the inspector, he didn't call me. He just put me, he didn't pass the inspection after that. I'm like, what do you mean pass inspection? So when I log in and check the report, they told me, hey, the report said the refrigerator was not working. I'm like, why the tenant didn't tell me? Hey, Brenda, why you didn't tell me the refrigerator was working? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just, the freezer, it just got in and out. Okay, so no problem. I went to store, replaced the whole entire thing. Then I have to call it in again, inspector, to go back in. And before he walk in, I was like, let me check the box of the brake box to see. Thank God, luckily there was a square thing that it was like a box that it was not filled. I had to refill that. And luckily, I went to the house, when he went to the inspector, and he checked for every outlet, every box, every breaker. He checked for every little thing that you can think of. All the outlets, the water heater, the washing and dryer, everything's working. He passed inspection, then I passed. But on the first inspection, my payment was supposed to be the first. So because I didn't pass inspection on Section 8, they didn't pay me. I have to wait up to the following month to get retroactive for this month. So you have to make sure when Section 8, all your ducks and your T's is crossed, because if not, they won't, sometimes some of the inspectors, if you don't build a relationship with them, they don't say shit. They just go to a property, inspect everything, and then mark you that didn't pass, and then why, put in the report and send it in, and you have to log into the system. In Miami-Dade County, I'm going to share my screen. Everybody see my screen, right?
Yes.
In Miami-Dade County, this is the portal, right? The information is in. If you're new, you want to do an account, okay, with them. Annual examination, that's what I was going through, right? They can complete their annual. It's not really annually, it's basically 4 or 6 months. All the documents, like, if you want to rent the increase, you upload it there. I want to say every year. So let's say if the tenant is September coming up, you want to do a 60-day prior to the lease expire. Why? Because that lease is gonna go up. Your contract renewal is gonna be obviously maybe 80 to $100. That's the most that I see, $100. It's rarely 25. I think is the minimum, if I'm not mistaken, that you can go up. Like, that they put $100. And remind you, they do a comparables around the whole about a mile and a half of their house or their condo, whatever you have rented, that they do to see if it's sustained. And believe it or not, how Miami is, you guys are known. They basically put it up, like they basically tell you, hey, it's increased at 10%, 12%, whatever it is. They probably most likely say yes, because there's no other rental for that person around. Okay, and they've been there for a year. Here is gonna be the online forms and services, like all everything that you need here is here. Very, very important that I want to talk to you guys about is the request moving. Okay, if you like if they're moving out, please move in or move them out at like the beginning, like the 29 or 28, because if you move them in the middle of the month, they're gonna take out half of that month payment. So for example, if your payment is $1,000 for Section 8, they're gonna take out 500 if they find out that they move in the middle of the month. Okay, so if you move out, if they move it out on the middle of the month, that's a no-no. Try for them to move out at the beginning of the month. It happened to me, like, and I'm telling you, if you have 3 or 4 at the middle of the month, you're like, shoot, it's a lot of money coming in. There are increases right here. I mean, you just click on it and they tell you have to obviously do it. Please, there is Miami-Dade account is mdvoucher.com. It's really simple.
Sammy,
yeah.
with the moving out, are you saying that when you do a lease with them, it should be towards the end of the month? Or are you saying, like, if they have a lease from the first of the month until,
The 31st.
the 31st of the next year,
Yeah.
are you saying that instead of doing it that way, you should do it where the lease begins at like the 28th of the month? Or
No. Okay, so that's a good question. So remember, it's the 31st, all right? So the next tenant, you want them to start on the 1st or the 2nd, right? So by this tenant, they gotta move out by the 31st or by the 30th. You know what I mean? If you can, please move them out that same, because you RTA the next tenant is gonna start on the 1st. If they move in on the 5th or the 6th, that's okay, because the Section 8 is gonna pay you those 3 or 4 days within that time period of because you have a contract, okay? But if they move out on the 5th or the 6th, and you don't have a next contract coming in, right? Or even they prolong it to the 10th, that they're not gonna pay you for the following month, because the contract is out. You know what I mean? You want to have a contract with your second tenant already in place coming in. If you don't, that's okay too. But knowing that if a tenant move out by the 30th, okay, and you have another one, the other one is gonna continue paying you. You know what I mean? So you don't skip a beat. Because in my case, I was like, okay, they're gonna pay me, but I did not know that my contract already expired, right? Or the lease ended. So they left on the middle of the month. That same month when my thing was instead of they leaving on the 31st, they left the 15th, right? Or the 16th. I'm not sure. And then they took away half of that month on my last month. And I was like, like, man, why? You know what I mean? And the lady in casework assistant told me, no, have them move, towards the end, and don't let them, because if not, we will take that payment away if they say that they move to another place that half of the month. So make sure that happens so they don't happen to you guys, okay? The rent increase, like I told you, very simple. Do a 60-day priors. This is the RTA request for tenancy approval. The RTA basically is the voucher that they have, the contract, how many people is going to be accepting that. If, like I told you, if your renting is higher than what the voucher is, accept it. You know what I mean? Right now, things are tricky. And do the rent increase every year. So if you can go to $100, the minimum that they're gonna say is $25. Just remember that. And somewhere in the middle they probably land, because they don't want those tenants to leave. Okay. What another one that is monthly expenses? No, that's for big communities. Okay, if this is a big one, declaration of US citizen. If the tenant that you have is from is not from this country. Southern, is which is happened, but it's rarely case. They are from Southern American or they're not, they're, internationally. Some of these people, you have to be careful with that paperwork, okay? Because when Section 8 is basically, from out of state, let's say it's out of state, and they have the voucher, but you don't know that they have a voucher and an I-20 or or something like that. It's a little bit more complicated, and they're in, and they don't turn in one paperwork. The contract is voided, and they're on your property. Section 8 is going to tell you, and this is the worst case scenario because again, I passed through. Section 8 is going to tell you, hey, the contract is going to get terminated by next month. It's your responsibility to take that tenant out of there if they don't pay you. You're like, whoa. So you have to start an eviction process, okay? I tell you that because it already, like, the case was a little bit different. We didn't know, or my staff didn't know, there was a person living. They subleased that. Obviously the staff said yes. They had the voucher. We switched the paperwork. And then we came to find out that the person was a Colombian, but a Colombian coming, the tenant was Colombian. The paperwork was not really legitimate on their end. Section 8 had the voucher. We got paid for 2 months, and the third month they're terminated because they made more than what the requirement was. However, and they were lying, they caught them lying. So when that happened there and could happen on their end as a tenant, you screwed, to tell you the truth, in that sense, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, I guess not. I'm going back to Sammy, where in the hell we can get tenant, or we can post, a common question from most of the agents here. It's good. It's called Affordability Housing, guys. Okay, you can put here either county, Palmetto Bay, Florida, and it will tell you who's accepting Section 8 on around the neighborhood, right? And you can see, you can go, and these houses are either Section 8 approved or they already had tenant in place. Let's say we want to go to Miami Gardens. Obviously, you're gonna have more, right? And it's still like, wow. And Miami Garden 4,000. Let's see what 3,000. Two for 4,000. If you're part of this, if you register, obviously, it's free, but it's not free, because if you want to be a landlord like me and posting here, it's gonna cost you money yearly. So I'm like, now I don't do them, because what I do now is, but if you want to find tenant Section 8 for your clients, sometimes you get Section 8 clients, it's on this website, okay? And then here you gotta subscribe so you can call the landlord yourself, because sometimes it's directly with the landlord, it's not with a realtor. And ask them, hey, there's some landlords that pay commission, and there's some landlords that no, I'm not paying you a dime. They're waiting. The landlord wait for the tenant or the client to call themselves and say, hey, listen, I see 3894 Northwest 207th Street that you're renting it for $2,950. My voucher for $2,900. Do you accept it? And that they do those type of negotiations. Okay. So just be aware, you as a realtor, that you might can get compensated and you might not. Another big thing that I just happened to notice the other day with another question from another realtor, it was like, hey, the Section 8 is paying first, last security? No, not right now. They did at one point on COVID, during COVID, they were paying up monthly 3 months or 2 months. Now they went back to just the deposit. The tenant is responsible for the first month. Okay, and then or vice versa. The tenant, the deposit, and Section 8 the first month. The last month, they're not going, then I haven't seen it. The last contract that I just did, they didn't pay the last month. So think about that too as well. If your landlord are you looking for Section 8, they're only gonna pay 2 months. Okay. That had changed in COVID 2019-20. They were doing that to help people out, but not anymore. So again, tenant is paying a deposit, and Section 8 is paying first month. Okay. So I wanted to touch on this website because a lot of people tell me, hey, what is the website? What is it? It's affordable housing. Okay. And you can say everywhere in Miami, I don't know in New Jersey, I don't know anywhere in like in the state, you have to probably put the county. Let me check something for Myers. For Myers, yeah. So I guess it covers all throughout the states. Let me check Orlando. Oh, Orlando, Florida, yep. So it's around the whole entire state. Affordable housing. I don't know if it's, out of the state, but here, oh, but over now. So that is one thing that I wanted to touch on that website, so you can find for a Section 8 tenant. Because a lot of you guys try to do regular home. Hey, I see you and you can't really have people, or they don't know the process of Section 8. So you have to educate them. And sometimes it's kind of hard to educate a landlord that doesn't know Section 8. And I get it. It's annoying, but you have to kind of like let them know what is the process like. The process again is for you to educate them how the timeline works with that landlord and expectation. Sometimes you don't get paid right away. Sometimes you have to wait another 2 cycles. So for example, let's say the landlord say, yes, you can move into my house. I will answer that. Sometimes say yes in the middle of the month or at the beginning of the month, and then you move in, but you don't get paid until the following month for the first month and then the second month. So in Section 8 will, according to the paperwork, they will pay you. Okay, so there's a so clarify, Section 8 will pay first month, tenant will have to pay the other 2 months. Yes. Basically, right now, that's how it is, at current moment. And you have to depend also on the voucher where it is, if it's Hialeah, Miami Beach, because that's another thing that you guys have to think about. Within Miami-Dade County that I have my Section 8, there's a bunch of Section 8, okay? So when I'm saying I don't say Section 8, let's say programs within Section 8. So there's Hialeah Section 8, okay? There's different counties. There's Homestead. There's Miami Beach, okay? And there's the big hub that is in downtown, okay? Downtown oversees most of it because it's a government, but there's different because of where you live, okay? And obviously, I don't know about the Hialeah. I know about the main one in downtown, and I know about the Homestead one. That right now, and I'm pretty sure that it's like that. They're not paying 3 months. They only pay the deposit. I mean the tenant pay the deposit. They pay for the first month. Before, like I said, they were used to help out the landlord. They were doing the 3 months. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I just did one. They didn't do that to me. Any other question, guys?
Nope. Hello,
Oh,
good morning.
good morning. Yeah,
It's Fausto. This is just, it's not really like a question, just like some information. Most of the times in the community, you can reach out to community action agencies and local shelters. They do supply, sometimes have housing assistance for move-in, for example, EFSP funds, rapid rehousing, that can help you, for the moving costs for your
yeah.
tenant or your
Hey,
client.
hey, thank you so much
FYI.
for saying that. Yes, I appreciate you for saying that. I did just got one the other day that I did not know about. It was, I believe it was moving low. It was some random. I never seen them. I never seen them, but it's true. There's different organization out there helping, affordable housing. So yes, absolutely. Thank you for saying that. There's always another question here. For me, one. If you need a post listing that accepts Section 8 at no cost to do the listing agent, you can also do so at Miami Homes for. Look at the chat, okay, guys. That's a good one. Okay, great question. How will we as an agent put in writing with the landlord agreement to pay? Okay, so you can do two ways. You can do an addendum to contract, right? Saying landlord is agreeing to pay X amount in terms of, like, let's say if it's $1,000, right? And they agree you to pay $500 or the whole amount, $1,000 for you to find them the tenant. You have to put that on writing and addendum to contract. Okay. You can really put it on. Let me see if I can find a lease that I did with Session A. I don't think. No, okay. Bear with me for a second. I'm just trying to find. So that's a good one. Um, Again, most of my leases are me directly with the tenant. I don't rarely pay. Hmm, I'm trying to look for no, I can't find it right now. I don't know why. So that's a good question. So it's an addendum to contract because you cannot put on the contract the tenant, well, the landlord is gonna pay you. And I believe it's a session. You can put a means. So let me download this. Sure it is. All right. So this is this is a lease, one of my leases that I did. Okay, and just so you guys can know, I do it through Paraiso Property Management, And you will say, hey, Sammy, you crazy. How you give a person since 2022 to 24? No. So what I do is on the lease, that's the moving date that my first contract did, right? As my first contract, and then the November 22, this person moving November 1st, 22. So that means that every time that I look at this, I know where's the RTA is going to probably renew, right? Around October, November. So I always do that. I always put the not to renew. I always put in the first month that they go into onto the following month next time. Okay. So to answer your question, how do you put it? You can. I always tell them to put a addendum to contract, but over here where it says this form completed with a system of, you always have to put it here, okay? And then the best bet, because this contract is gonna go to the Section 8. So it's best for you to do a addendum to contract and stipulate yourself that they're gonna pay you commission on that sense. Any other question, guys?
Sammy,
On
for
the-
oh,
Go ahead.
for the rentals for the tenants, I know we're not supposed to say that a landlord does not accept Section 8. But if we on the agent side know that they aren't, is there anything that we legally can say to them to avoid them having to pay these application fees when we know the owner isn't going to take it, or waste their time and hopes in, thinking that they're going to get a place when we already know
Well,
that they aren't? And are we supposed to report if a landlord isn't taking it because it is discrimination? Like what?
you can't, because that's his property. You don't tell a landlord what to do, right? But what you can do is to say, this moment, ma'am or sir, we have a lot of applications and we're going through them. You're not telling me yes, you're not telling me no. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not an attorney to tell you, hey, you can do that, but I will tell you flat out, don't say no, we're not accepting that. I tell you that right now. No, don't do that. But I
And-
can tell you, hey, we have a lot of right now applications, we're going through them.
And we
Okay.
can't say that the landlord hasn't completed certification yet for Section 8? Is that illegal to say as well?
Yeah, because remember, not the certification, the inspection, yeah, because remember that the landlord is not approved. They have to have the requirement to accept Section 8. You have the house have to be approved by Section 8 to put a tenant in it. And how they do that is by putting sending inspection and RTA form. So the landlord is aware, 1,000% aware that what the process is. And if they're not approved, or they're not, compliance with Section 8, that's it. They can accept Section 8. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, can we communicate that to someone that's interested in a property, saying
Oh,
that
yeah.
landlord hasn't completed the cert or hasn't been approved yet?
Yeah. Or compliance with Section 8. Yes, you can.
Okay.
The property hasn't been, compliance with Section 8. So therefore, or not the property, the landlord, because it's basically in loss, as a landlord. Plan 8, what's another question?
Yes, on the topic of property management, I know that Lifestyle has a preferred property management company, Paradiso. I just wanted to hear what's the best way we can send landlords, because not every landlord wants the job of being a landlord, right? So I know Paradiso is, thriving in the property management space. How can we send people there, and anything you want to cast light on with that?
Absolutely, Dana. Thank you. That's a good question. So Paraiso Property Management, guys, we are doing the Paraiso Property Management 2 things. One thing that I'm gonna make clear is, as you guys have your own license, your real estate license, don't try to do property management and real estate agent. Don't. Okay. Have a company, okay, or refer to us as a Paraiso Property Management and have them manage for you. Why I say that, and I'm going to get to Dana's question a little bit, is because a while back, we have one of the agents trying to do that, okay? She was like, okay, no problem. I told her, no problem. If you don't want to do it with us, it's okay. But, you know, using our name of Paradiso, using our insurance software and things like that, it's gonna cost. It's gonna cost. But she didn't want to. She had about, I don't know, 8 management company that she was doing. But guess what? She was not managing well. And when I'm saying this is that her situation, I'm not gonna mention any names, her situation was that there was some step on the house that she had. And you know the railing thing, it was loose. And the tenant continued complaining to them, hey, when are you guys gonna fix it? And she was ignoring because the landlord didn't want to put attention to it and things like that, or waste money. I don't know. But basically, the lady got out one day, put a step, fell through the step, and she basically sued the realtor plus the landlord. She won the suit. Okay. Why? Because she put it in writing, text message, call. Like I'm telling you, she proved that they told them. And by the way, the lady got blind on one side of the eye. Okay, because this person, this realtor, did not want it. I mean, again, as soon as it's soon, no matter what. But she could have been promoting that if she would have had another company under whatever it is. Maybe thank God locally I didn't do that because my name on my company was not there. But what I'm trying to tell you is that DPR went through for what they licensed her real estate license. So now, unfortunately, she's working at Target and things like that. Like, and I hate for this conversation to happen. But if you study for this real estate and you're making thousands of dollars with this real estate, don't jeopardize your real estate license with that. Please separate or hire us. So what we do right now, we're having a referral agreement for you guys for the realtors. We give $500 from Paraiso to as soon as we have a contract signed with the landlord. What do we do, Sammy? So what we do is we collect the rent. We the staff call, test, and show in person whatever it is to collect that rent for the tenant, for the landlord. And then we ACH. We collect our fees, we ACH the rest. ACH is the rent deposit. On top of that, okay, we manage the construction, meaning like if it's one of the units, like right now we have one in North Miami that had to do everything, floor, bathroom, paint, kitchen, the whole, we also manage that. We don't charge, we just manage the whole construction, and then the payment will be a 10% of what the project costs, right? For us managing. We also do what is like, let's say you have a second or third home and you live, I don't know, in Washington DC, high end, right? We also do that. And then in some cases, some of these people are coming in from, these places, and they want their, I don't know, their windows to be shining, their house to be clean, things like that. We have people for that as well. So whatever you think of the landlord might need, we here to serve them in the sense, because we have a staff already. We have about 98, 95 properties that we already managing it between Orlando, Fort Myers, and Miami and Broward. Obviously it's not myself, it's more staff. And something that I can bring to you is little side hustle, and I have realtors that can convince on this. Is, for example, if you give me your client, right? Your client needs to, that unit needs a rental. You as a realtor are going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I can, but I'm not going to. I'm signing with you on non-compete, so you can do that. I only care for the property management every day for the problems. We only care for the problems. You care for every time there is a vacancy in either condo, building, whatever house, whatever it is, my staff is gonna call whatever the realtor refer. Hey, say, listen, we have a listing coming up. They don't want to renew. You need to put that on the market. So one of my referral ladies right now that I have to give a shout out is Daniela from Lifestyle. She had referred me a bunch of people, and again I give it back the business in terms of the vacancy. The same thing with if the owner want to sell, I do the same thing. If the owner want to sell, I give them the owner back. Listen, I don't have time for that. And my staff is to get work orders, refer vendors and things like that. I don't give my staff to like say, hey, listen, now you're going to be selling or you're going to be renting. No, I have other units here that I do myself. And I put it, or I call this, right, for a sample. And I'm gonna give you another sample that right now so you can see how generous of me I am. I don't need to do this, but I do it because
That's really smart. That's really smart. It's a great retention tool for agents to retain and keep those renewals for their landlords. That's genius.
yeah. So I did that, Dana, because same thing. Okay, so look at this. Let me share this. Let's see. All right. So you guys, okay, yeah, you guys should see all three of them. So what I do is, for example, this one. This one is my listing, right? Really nice home, a little bit outdated, but it's a rental home. We started at 4,000. Now we are at 3,600 in the middle of Miami with a pool. Look, I had Samuel Hernandez in the top, but I did it with Francisco. Okay, Francisco, you're in charge of it. You're doing it. You know what I mean? So when the house is not from another agent, that's what I do. Okay, I put all the agents to work on the area. Same thing with this one, Julie. Ulysses, I told her, put me as a co-agent, but I don't want my phone. It's all you, okay? And they do the rentals, and then after the rental, they pass the deposit, they pass everything, background check, deposit, they pass everything to Paradiso, and Paradiso take care of the rest. Meaning, you still get paid your full commission through the brokerage, and then I give the landlord the rest of the money with minus our fee, and then we continue every month managing the property. Now, I have right now about 4 employees. Everybody has a role, a problem we take care of right away. And I want to show you. So for example, if for a second, switch ISO property management. So look, share again. So you look, so you can see here my building, my thing is reminding me all these leases when it's gonna be ending. You see that?
No,
So
we can't see it.
Share your screen.
oh, my bad. Sorry. Okay. So, and my email, the system will email me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 leases, right? And this is a building that we manage that is going to come. Now I gotta call Vanessa and tell Vanessa, listen, I need you to see what are all these leases, right? And then renew it. That's up to her job. That's her job. Give me the leases because I have 1, unit 6, unit 1, 7, and 4. If they and 5, if they don't renew it, that is 5 tenant that she needs to get. You get what I'm saying? So I like to do that as well because it gives them more jobs. So for example, when you refer me somebody, I'm gonna refer back to you. 1,000%, because we have to work, together to get those leases either renew or you have to get new people. I love to do that. I love to work with all the agents. So if you can refer me for Paraiso Property Management, please do. I'm here to help you to make you a little more money. Okay. Any other question, guys?
I do, Sammy. Good morning. This is Dagmara. Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
Okay, perfect. Going back to Section 8, I have a couple of questions. One, do you recommend that as the landlord, let's say that my client is willing to accept Section 8, do you recommend that we start the process before we have anyone through the website that you mentioned and do the RTA? Start the
Yes,
process?
yes, right away, because that means that you've been proactive in that sense that your owner wants to do it. So if your owner wants to do, landlord want to do it, go ahead, contact Section A, do the whole paperwork, have him do the orientation, so you can, be already ahead of the curve. Okay, what is your second question?
Perfect. And my second question is, let's say that my rent is $1,900 and then another agent brings a tenant with Section 8 with a voucher of $2,100 for more than what we're asking for. Is that something that's okay to accept the CTL or?
Yeah. It is okay. However, what I can tell you is that Section A have to approve it, because Section A is the one that's going to tell you if the house is worth 2,100 instead of 1,900. You know what I mean? So it's okay, but Section A is gonna have the final say on that.
Okay,
Because
perfect.
remember, it's basically also on what they can afford, supposedly them. Because remember, Section 8 have all the paperwork and all the pay stuff from the tenant. If they can afford the $2,000, they can. If not, Section 8 will cover it. You know what I mean? So that's why it's a tricky, but yeah, it is.
Perfect.
What,
Thank
what,
you. And I have the last question. My last question is, what is your fee? Let's say that I have a tenant, a landlord that would love to have your services as property management.
So my fees depends. My fee, I start at 10%. I rarely go to 8% if they have multiple, but it's 8-10%, and in some cases 12%. If it's a high end, like like I have houses in Pinecrest that are like high end, and I need to be on call, and my staff need to be kind of like every month, like going out around the clock every month to go, because we have all those houses too. Like I mentioned earlier, that these people live in Chicago and stuff like that, and the houses need to look like, because when they come in, the houses, so those are a little bit more. Section 8, I rarely do them. I do about 8 to 10% on Section 8 of the rent roll. 10% is the going rate, because I have to deal with Section 8, I have to deal with the landlord, I have to deal with the tenant. There's a lot so I don't really go below 10%, unless you give me a portfolio, like I have a portfolio of 5 doors, different properties, sorry, the Section 8, and it's been, it's complicated, but he's giving me more business. So those are the fees.
Thank you, Sammy. You're a blessing in the sky for
No
us.
problem. And again, my email, I'm gonna put it now on the chat. Hold on. Let me put on the chat. So if Sammy. That's my email. I'm gonna put my phone number. If you have any question, if you want to refer anything to Paraiso Property Management, about Section 8, about not Section 8, please just, keep, call me, text me, or email me, okay? But other than that, that's the training about today for Section 8. Thank you so much, guys.